A Brevard man is in the hospital at this hour after his experimental plane goes down in the Indian River.
It was a far cry from the cruise vacation they'd expected. Now hundreds of passengers, once aboard the ill-fated Celebration, are back in home port with stories to tell.
And a well-known snake handler is clinging to life after being bitten by a king cobra.
Live and local from the WCPX newsroom, this is 6 News.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charna Weesey.
And I'm Ben Akrig. Their ship has come in, and most passengers couldn't wait to get off. The Carnival cruise liner Ecstasy docked in Miami this morning, ending an ordeal at sea that began Sunday when an engine room fire aboard the sister ship Celebration knocked out power for days. Our Craig Eicher is live in Miami after touring the ship and talking to distressed passengers. Did they run out of patience, Craig?
Some of them did, Ben, but most of them, I have to say, were fairly happy with the way Carnival Cruise Lines handled this entire fiasco. There's the there's the Ecstasy right across the bay from us over there, and it has just disembarked about 1,760 passengers, most of whom, as I say, are happy. Some of them aren't too happy. All this has Carnival Cruise Lines dancing as fast as they can. They're the refugees of what some call the cruise from hell, and they're glad to be back on shore. Others waited inside to disembark, and each had a story to tell of a disastrous vacation that nearly ended in abandoning ship.
That's the last thing I wanted to do, was get in one of those boats, and because I knew when we did that we were going to be scattered everywhere, and I didn't know exactly where we were going to end up.
We started conserving our toilet by using the sink, because it would drain out of the sink, but it wouldn't drain out of the toilets.
It was Sunday. Carnival's Celebration caught fire, went dark, and became a floating, powerless barge. Passengers spent almost 2 days sleeping outside, trying to stay cool and live without flushing toilets or running water.
No instructions were given as far as what to do with our waste, because, of course, all the toilets were overflowing. There were a lot of problems like that.
What did people do with their waste?
We got plastic bags.
It was very stressful. It smelled really bad. People slept all over the place. It was stressful. Everybody was really tense.
Then the Ecstasy rescued the stranded passengers. Carnival opened the bar and tried to give their passengers at least one fun day at sea. Carnival's president says he personally asked 200 passengers if they were satisfied with the way his company handled it.
I talked to 2 people that were very unhappy. One was a lawyer, and he was thrilled.
Well, we don't know what that attorney has in mind, but we do know that most of the people I've spoken with this morning say that they're happy mainly because they got full refunds. They have a free trip coming to them. Their refund checks on the ship, so they walked off with a ton of cash today. And additionally, we went for a tour of the engine control room here on this ship to get an idea of where the fire started on the Celebration. We'll have those pictures and a very interesting look at this ship tonight on Channel 6 News. Back to you.
Thank you, Craig. Charna?
A Brevard County man is hospitalized right now after his experimental plane went down in the Indian River. It happened just before 10 o'clock this morning in the waters just north of the Pineda Causeway. Our Yvonne Martinez is there now with the latest. Yvonne?
Well, Charna, they've already cleared the plane wreckage from the river here. This area right here is where it went down. The pilot, Keith Miko, is recovering in the hospital. This is what the plane looked like when it was fished out of the river about an hour ago. It's an experimental seaplane that the pilot built himself. But witnesses tell us when the pilot was making a sharp turn, the plane just plunged into the water. A skin diver already in the water nearby came to his rescue. You went and got the guy?
Yeah.
Tell me how you did that.
I happened to be prepared. I had my fins and equipment on just for that occasion. And pulled him out to the bottom of the boat.
How was he?
Unconscious.
The pilot, we are told, is now in stable condition at Wusthof Hospital. What is left of the plane was packed up and taken by friends so that they can try and figure out exactly what happened. It's a good thing this pilot had the thought or the smarts to have somebody following him in a boat to be prepared for something like this. They just never know what can happen with these experimental type planes. But he is recovering in the hospital in stable condition, should be just fine. We are live in Brevard County. I'm Yvonne Martinez. Back to you.
Thank goodness for Mr. Wilkerson. Who knows what could have happened being unconscious in those waters.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you, Yvonne. Ben?
Technicians repaired the leak aboard Atlantis overnight, but the shuttle still may not lift off tomorrow. The countdown continues and the rocket's ready, but the weather isn't. With only a 7-minute launch window at 5:08 tomorrow afternoon, forecasters predict only a 20% chance of favorable conditions. So although the leaky fitting in the helium gas line to the steering jets is fixed, launch may still be delayed.
A well-known long-time Central Florida snake handler is in very critical condition this noon after being bitten by a king cobra. 51-year-old George Van Horn is on a ventilator at ORMC. King cobras inject massive doses of venom, making chest muscles constrict, possibly making the victim suffocate. Unfortunately, the fear is right now for Van Horn, the anti-venom that could have saved his life may have come too late. Mona Scott is here with the story.
A nationwide search, and finally, the rare cobra anti-venom was found last night, several hours after the bites. A Titusville man who had vials of it in his home heard a TV news report and called the hospital. George Van Horn himself has supplied life-saving doses of the drug several times a year to victims of deadly snake bites across the southeast. He had some of the anti-venom on hand, but not enough for 2 bites on his arm. If you've been to Reptile World in St. Cloud, the serpentarium Van Horn opened in 1972, you've probably seen him milk snakes for their venom. The venom is in glands on each side of the snake's head, toward the back of the upper jaw. If squeezing the head doesn't work, he uses an electrical charge to get the juices moving. It doesn't hurt the snake, he says. The most venom you can get from any one snake is about 6 milligrams. This spitting cobra is fairly cooperative. 3 times a day, Van Horn is put on the half-hour venom show. A rattlesnake gets milked. And this king cobra, like the one that bit him yesterday, while a group of children watched, not knowing if it was part of the show, gives up his poisonous donation. 2 years ago, I asked Van Horn about being afraid.
With snakes has a certain amount of danger, but I always tell people if they want to be afraid of something, be afraid of your car.
Yesterday was the 10th time Van Horn's been bitten since he opened his business 23 years ago. 2 years ago, he showed me how a rattlesnake had bitten off the end of his finger. And he told me this business was a dream of his, ever since he was a young boy and collected snakes and drooled over the exhibits at the Miami Serpentarium. The hospital says the next 24 to 48 hours will be critical for Van Horn. Ben?
Thousands of people throughout Central Florida have joined a class action lawsuit seeking refunds on their auto impact fees. But the American Civil Liberties Union is now saying these people are being taken advantage of. Today, an ACLU press conference about a better option. Our Sean Hightower joins us live. What do they advise, Sean?
Well, Ben, soon after the state was first challenged on the impact fees, a law firm named Foley and Lardner established a class action lawsuit to help people get their money back. Well, now they are subtracting $44 from each refund, and today the ACLU criticized them for doing that. First of all, they say people do not need to belong to that class action lawsuit to get their money back. And they say if you are already involved, all you need to do is fill out a simple form that you can mail directly to the State Highway and Motor Vehicle Department. They also criticized the law firm for not keeping the members of the class action lawsuit a little better informed.
Foley and Lardner published some small legal notices in selected papers across the state of Florida that were buried among foreclosure notices. People don't know that they have a right to opt out of the class and not pay $1, $2, $44 of their $295 refund.
Now, if you paid your impact fee after June 30th of 1992, you can call the ACLU or that law firm to get one of those forms so that you can handle your refund on your own. State officials also say those refunds should start rolling out in the mail sometime around the early portion of July. Reporting live in Orlando, I'm Sean Hightower. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Sean.
Well, the survey of the most livable places is out, and you may be surprised which state tops the list and where our home ranks.
And it may be the movie to see this weekend, and it could give Batman a run for the money. A live report from Disney on the hype surrounding Pocahontas. Well, there are 38 better states than Florida, at least according to a Kansas company that makes a list of the most livable places in the U.S. You're looking at the top 5 states: Utah, Kansas, Minnesota, Iowa, and Nebraska. Cold, but clean living. Florida is ranked 39th, flanked by Oklahoma and Arkansas. Worst place to live, according to the study, Louisiana. Researchers consider things like air and water quality, percentage of people with high school educations, and health insurance.
Well, we've all heard the hype. Now Disney is ready to deliver Pocahontas. Disney's latest animated film hits the theaters tomorrow here, but they don't want the movie to be the only draw. They want you to experience the story live. Entertainment reporter Jackie Pollock is live at MGM Studios with more. Jackie?
Well, Sharon, it's been a huge week for Disney. The announcement of a new theme park, new rides, and new attractions. And now the release of Disney's 33rd feature film. Of course, that's Pocahontas, being released on Friday. But here at MGM Studios, you can catch a live rendition of that feature film featuring all the characters. Now, the stage production is put together at MGM's Backlot Theater. It's called The Spirit of Pocahontas and features live performers, special effects, along with animated scenery. All the elements come together to tell the love story between Captain John Smith and the Native American heroine, Pocahontas. Show directors say they worked with Imagineers from Florida and California to put together a real show.
We worked to develop a way to present the show in a live context that wouldn't sacrifice any of the integrity of the storyline, would capture the beautiful imagery of the animation, and would bring it to our park guests in a way that they could enjoy in a short stay and move on.
Now, Charna, this production begins tomorrow. It premieres tomorrow, that is, and it will be premiered, that is, 5 days a week, every day of the week, till, I guess, until further notice. So come check it out here at MGM Studios. Reporting from MGM Studios, Jackie Pollock, Channel 6 News.
Thank you, Jackie. You know, Pocahontas is going to make all kinds of money, because the other day I was at a store and the kids were bugging their parents to buy all the Pocahontas outfits already, and the movie hasn't even come out here yet. So.
You see the cartoon in the paper this morning? They're out in the desert, stopping at an Indian trading post and saying, "Do you have any live action Pocahontas?"
No. Coming up, Dan Schaefer will check in with your weather forecast. And here's a from our Sunbank Center camera.
And on Wall Street at 11:30, the Dow, which lost 3.5 points yesterday, was on the rise, up 21 points to reach 4568.20 after a report that the weekly unemployment rate rose the most in 17 months last week. That raised hopes for lower interest rates. Trading is quite heavy. Well, how about the weather this afternoon?
How about the weather this afternoon? Looks like the clouds are going to stick around. We got some much-needed rain, though. Take a look right now outside. It is 81 degrees in Daytona Beach, 84, some sunshine in Ocala, 78, pretty heavy clouds in Orlando, 80 degrees down in Melbourne right now. Plenty of moisture out there to work with. High humidity levels, kind of relatively high for this time of day. We usually see them in the 40, 50, 60% range, up into the 80s right now. East-northeast winds at 7, northeast at 5 in Melbourne, south at 6, so kind of variable. These are rainfall amounts from yesterday. Traces in Orlando and Daytona Beach. Melbourne got stuck under a thunderstorm, had an inch and 2/10 of rain, and we can use the rain. So far this year, we are well below normal as far as the rain gauges are concerned, almost 5 inches below normal in Orlando and in Kissimmee. The only place showing a surplus is Melbourne. They're about 1/10 of an inch above where they should be. But look at Daytona Beach. They could certainly use the rain, and we have gotten a little bit of rain today around Central Florida. Most of it was fairly light. You can see right now, there goes the rain that came through earlier this morning. Right now, left a few scattered showers across central Osceola County into Brevard County, and some light scattered showers. Heaviest activities from just south of Lake Okeechobee down toward about Naples. Here's a look at the satellite picture. This is a visible satellite, so you can actually see the cloud cover across Central Florida. Not a whole lot of high cloud tops. The higher clouds are down here, brighter white. That's where the thunderstorms are, and that line extends all the way back into the Gulf of Mexico, so they're going to see more rain across South Florida. Here in Central Florida, we may just see a spritz or two. That's about it. We're not expecting any major thunderstorms. That low, which has been plaguing the southeast, finally beginning to kick on out of here, so that means a little more sunshine in the forecast for the upcoming weekend. Here's your forecast for this Thursday. Cloudy skies will continue. We got a chance for some scattered showers. Highs today in the middle to upper 80s with a south wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour. And then tonight, some scattered early storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy with lows in the low 70s and a light breeze. And your marine forecast, small craft advisory has been posted from Cape Canaveral to the south. Seas are running up to 7 feet with choppy conditions. Surf temperature at Daytona 82. We got a 4 on our Ray-Ban UVA network sun index scale. It's fairly low because of the cloud cover. And the 5-day outlook taking you through the weekend, and things start to get sort of back to normal there, hopefully by the weekend. More sun in the morning and then a few storms in the afternoon, kind of a typical summertime fare.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
Sure. Coming up next, the doctor's on call. He'll have some advice if you suspect you or someone you love has an eating disorder.
Phone him at 424 WCPX.
It's one of those serious problems that many people don't even know they have because they don't really know the signs and the symptoms, eating disorders. Dr. Richard Hall is with us right now, and you tell me that there is a brand new approval for a medication to be used to treat bulimia. And if you have any questions for Dr. Hall, 424 WCPX.
Yeah, Prozac has been studied now for about 8 years in eating disorders, and recently there's been an approval for its use in bulimia. It's also been shown to be very effective in patients who've had severe anorexia once the eating part of the disorder is corrected. Very often patients with anorexia will have a severe depression associated with it due to the nutritional deficiencies that the disease causes, and it looks as if the medicine replaces serotonin in the nervous system, which is an essential chemical that gets depleted by these two conditions. So it's been very helpful, and the new studies now show that it's both safe and effective for the treatment of bulimia.
We have a phone call. Julie, you're on the air.
Hi.
Can't hear.
Go ahead, Julie.
Yeah, I'm calling because I've had bulimia for 2.5 years, and I'm pregnant, and I don't know where to turn.
So you haven't sought treatment yet?
I did about a year ago. No, about a 1.5 years ago.
And this is a very scary time for a woman whose body is going to be changing.
Sure.
What do you tell Julie? She seems very upset.
What trimester are you in, Julie?
Third.
Third trimester, so it's late in the pregnancy, and you're still pretty bulimic?
Well, I don't know.
Don't know.
I try to be really good on meals, but the other stuff I'm not good on.
Okay. Does your obstetrician gynecologist know about it? Julie?
No.
No. It's important to let your obstetrician gynecologist know if the bulimia has been there for a while. They can do some things to alter your nutrition during the pregnancy, and the sooner you let them know, the better, so that they can replace some of the essential things that sometimes get depleted as a result of the bulimia, and they'll also know to look for different things. So let him know or her know that you've got this condition, and then there are some things that you can do working with your doctor, and as soon as the baby's born, if the condition persists, then you want to see someone, because the treatments now are really very effective, and there's a lot of things that you can do to make this better. But I'd let them know right away what the problem's been.
I imagine if an OB/GYN has been following her, she's in her third trimester, then they know that things are going well with the baby.
That may or may not be the case. Some of these things are very specifically depleted, Charna, so if they know about it, they'll know specifically what to look for.
Yeah. Dr. Hall, thank you so much. We have a phone number for you in case you have any more questions and need help with bulimia or anorexia. The area code 407, Florida Hospital Helpline 897-1800. Dr. Richard Hall is very, very involved with that program there. If you need to get in touch with him, that's where you call. Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Coming up, they want to be the hometown of Dave's Top 10 list. We'll tell you how far a group of folks will go to call David Letterman's Top 10 list their own. Okay, the top 10 reasons to move David Letterman's home office to Glens Falls, New York. Number 1, because a busload of folks who live there love Dave so much they travel to Manhattan to win him over. In case you're asleep when Dave is on, he always credits his fictional home office of Grand Rapids, Michigan when he reads his nightly top 10 list. The trip to the Big Apple didn't work for the Glens Fallsians, though. They did get to go home with memories of a handshake with Dave and left him a key to upstate New York just in case he changes his mind.
Which he will.
You might see Glens Falls as the home office at one point.
That's pretty nice. You can meet Dave on the streets of New York.
That's our news. Thanks for being with us today.
Bye-bye.